Hi there, how you doing? It's been a bit. So today, after 2 whole years of trying to finish this mask, I have finally finished it. And it took a lot. I have been working on it pretty regularly for the past 3 weeks, actually. I know that doesn't sound like a lot considering the 2 years I didn't do anything with it. However, as we get into it, I will tell you the story of my torment over this last month. I'm not sure if I'm satisfied with it or if I have just resigned myself to my fate and find it adequate. No, all jokes aside, I am actually very happy with how this turned out. So if you're interested in listening to my woes and also seeing the process of how I created my Haku wig, keep on watching. So starting off, as I said, took a lot to get us to this point, and I'd rather not do it again, but I have another one. Now this one, my grandmother helped paint. Unfortunately, it fell into a bunch of newspaper, and so she tried to fix it, but it didn't work. It kept falling in different stuff. It's got glitter all over it. It's a nice memento from my grandma, let's just say that. I actually want to paint this. Want is a very strong word, but I would like to ideally paint this and have this as the broken version of Haku's mask, because I think that could make for some pretty good pictures. So my intention is to paint this one. I don't know when that's gonna happen. It could be another 2 years. But talking about the one we do have finished, so this is a 3D printed model. I will link to the model I used down below. Basically, we just 3D printed it, and I kept it in my room for 2 years until finally deciding to paint it. So obviously the paint was the main portion, but I also have this strap back here. This is actually like an eyeglasses strap, so you can adjust it, and it is also lined with craft foam. Again, I think it turned out pretty good for all the trouble I went through. There are a few things that I'm not happy with, you know, just little details that you only notice if you're the one that made it, but overall, I'm happy it's over. So if you're interested in listening to more of my story and also watching the process, I already said keep on watching. Just roll it. Alright, starting off with a clip of the first few coats. I didn't film the actual spray painting portion because I was in a new area and didn't know how I would set everything up. Starting off, I'm just cutting that craft foam, being very generous with the outline, and then making 4 little cuts on the sides and the top and bottom. This will allow the foam to sit neatly inside the mask without any bubbling. Now I am just super gluing the sides. I didn't really bother with the middle of it. Not gonna lie, I was kind of scared of breathing in those fumes. I'm trying to turn a new leaf, having committed heinous acts with super glue for cosplay before. Now cutting out the eyes. I really wish I had a better tool for this, but I didn't, so enjoy me struggling. Now onto the paint. As you can see, I wasted a lot of paint there. That was actually 2 different types of paint. I didn't know which one I wanted to go for. Luckily, I went for the higher quality stuff because, as you will see later on, the disaster that I had to deal with did not affect the red at all, thankfully. This model had some grooves in it, so I didn't have to completely freehand it. You'll see as the video goes on that I go back and forth a lot with different brushes to try to make those lines straight. This is just the first coat, so it's gonna look a little wonky. so this is where my struggles began. It looked just how I wanted it to look. I ruined it all. That white paint really did not like any top coat I used. It bubbled and ruined the entire thing, not once, not twice, but 3 times. Initially, I used a different top coat from the brand of spray paint I used, so I assumed that was the problem. The logical conclusion would be to sand it down and then spray paint it again, which I did. However, in order to spray paint again, I would have to cover the red and gray areas with painter's tape. Now, with how small those areas are, there were bound to be some areas that the spray paint just did not reach unless I wanted to repaint the red. Well, the painter's tape didn't work, because why would anything work? And it only just made everything that much worse. So let's back it up a bit. I needed to spray paint the white again. Now, in order to do that, I would need a working can of spray paint. I had that until I tried to use it again. Luckily, I was working in my grandma's workshop, so I knew that she had tons of spray paint. Lo and behold, I found one, but when I tried to open it, I could not. And at that point, I was just so pissed off with everything happening that I said, fuck it. And here is one of the best pieces of footage to come out of this video. It's me fed up and smashing the shit out of this can of spray paint. Do you see that face? That is the only victory I had that night. Unfortunately, after smashing it open, I realized it was not the same shade of paint. So I accepted my fate, and I went to Home Depot. I bought a new can of spray paint, and I bought the brand name top coat. I get home, I paint practically all of the details back on, so finally it's time for the top coat. And that bubbling happened again. Now, it wasn't too bad, so I ultimately ended up getting away with having a bit of bubbling, and that's when I realized it was actually that cheap white paint from Amazon. So suffice it to say, I am never using that shit again. Fuck that shit. I am so pissed off. Wow, look at that, an actual finished product out of this whole mess. Here I am hot gluing that glasses strap to my mask. I decided not to make any holes in it because honestly, I felt like it would be better rather than that black portion potentially peeking out and ruining the vision of Naruto masks that make no sense. The hot glue worked pretty good. I used the same method I used for my scope and really only reinforced it with 2 squares of foam. And finally, that was the last bit of effort I had to put into this thing. And then all there was to do was the fun part, which was actually getting into the costume. Now I will let Cherazzy take it away with the end of the video. So yeah, that was a doozy. That's what I've been doing for the past 3 weeks. And I am glad it's finally over. I have another one. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and also comment down below letting me know your thoughts. Please subscribe if you're interested in seeing more, and also turn on those notifications if that's something you're into. With that all said, I hope you have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.